And let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
EJ Boxing Live here. EJ Boxing Live here. And he won this damn fight.
How you doing, fight fans? EJ Boxing Live here, and we are back with the panel, Now TV, B-Marsh Boxing, Ben Umar, No Place Like Low Place, and Dan the Man Boxing coming through as well. So we got the big fights now over in the States with my US panel. We're going to talk about Terence Crawford versus Jeff Horn, Abner, cheating Abner versus Santa Cruz 2, and all the undercards, all the other fights. We've got the Charlos and all the other fights underneath here. So we're going to start. Let me see where we're going to start, because this is a big fight. We're going to start with Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn's fight. Jeff Horn's fighting. I think it's ESPN, and we're going to start with. Let's go with Now TV. So Jeff Horn versus Terence Crawford. Go ahead, now you start off.
Yeah, Jeff Horn versus Terence Crawford. You know, finally coming. You know, this fight was supposed to happen a couple months ago, but you know, at least better late than never. I'm interested in the fight. It's really intriguing. You know, from a number of different aspects. Going into the Horn versus Pacquiao fight, you know, a lot of people felt like it was just a matter of how Pacquiao beats Horn and what round he knocks him out in and things of that nature. And on the road to fighting Crawford, but it didn't turn out that way. You know, Horn upset the odds, and he did it, I think, very emphatically. I think I'd seen some people talking about earlier on Twitter, talking about how it seemed like the ESPN commentary for Horn and Pacquiao made it so that a lot of people really underestimate Horn going into the Crawford fight by virtue of the fact that Teddy Atlas and co. were consistently underrepresenting the good work and the success that Horn was having against Pacquiao. Because, I mean, to anybody that's actually watching that fight from an unbiased perspective, logically speaking, Horn whooped Pacquiao's ass. He manhandled Pacquiao pretty much the entire fight. He got hurt late, and Pacquiao tried to finish him off, yes. But after he failed to finish him off, he was completely spent. And I think that is evidenced given evidence to the good work that Horn had done all the way up until that point where he got hurt late. And he also finished stronger than Pacquiao. So I thought he did a really good job. You know, he's a very physical fighter. He didn't look so good in his last fight against Corcoran, but I can, to a degree, chalk that up to maybe, he took Corcoran lightly. I do expect the best version of Horn going into the Crawford fight, and I think the only chance he has of beating Crawford is to be the best version of himself. And even then, it's still, I wouldn't even necessarily still give him better than a 50-50 chance against Crawford, especially on the scorecards, considering how wide a lot of the backlash was, even though it was undeserved. There's been for Horn post Pacquiao. But that said, Horn is a bigger, stronger, I think, opponent than anybody that Crawford's faced. So in that sense, Crawford's fighting a new level of opposition from that perspective. He isn't necessarily the most skilled fighter, the most technically sound fighter that Crawford will have fought, but I don't necessarily think that he's that far off from some of the guys that Crawford has fought. Crawford did, I think, kind of benefit from the fact that the 140-pound division was a division in flux, a division that was kind of ripe to be taken over, and he definitely took over in an emphatic fashion. And I do favor him here against Horn because ultimately I do think that he is one of the premier skilled fighters of boxing today, regardless of weight class. And I do think that his skills will be able to overcompensate for Horn's kind of brute force tactics. But I expect Horn to put up a really good fight, and I think he'll be a good stern test for Crawford, and maybe kind of portend for things to come as far as Crawford's campaign at 147 goes from here on out. But overall, I do favor Crawford.
Cool, man. Last one, D-Marsh.
Yeah, man. I've been looking forward to this fight, I rate Terence Crawford very high, man, I think this is going to be the best opponent of his career. Just off the fact that the guy got beat Pacquiao, The man got Pacquiao on his resume. You know what I'm saying? I thought Pacquiao won the fight 7-5. But Pacquiao ain't look good, man. The guy manhandled him. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the man Terence Crawford got his hands full with Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn's a physical dude, man. He's a big dude. I seen that fight, his first title defense versus the Cochran guy. And, you know, he ain't look particularly that good. That dude drew blood, man. His left eye was cut, you know what I mean? You know, the guy, Terence Crawford could probably cut his ass up too, man, with the punches because, you know, this guy looks like even when he fought Pacquiao, man, that eye of his was basically purple, you know what I'm saying? It was purple when Pacquiao put hands on him. So he's there to be hit, you know what I'm saying? And I think Terence Crawford's going to take his time. He's going to play it safe because this guy probably might want to come with them elbows and leaning on fellas. But I think Terence Crawford overall, when he switches stances on the guy, I think that's when he's going to break away with the fight. You know what I mean? I see Terence Crawford winning this fight probably 8-4. I think it's going to go to the decision. I'd be very impressed if Bud Crawford could stop him. You know what I mean? Could stop him or knock him out. You know what I'm saying? Because if Pacquiao couldn't do it, and Bud Crawford, I think it's going to be tough for him. But if you do, big props to him. But I think this is a test we've been wanting to see, at least for Bud Crawford, how he could handle guys at 147. So if Bud Crawford switching stances on the man, I think at some point in the fight, probably early, might come in from round one, from the switcher in southpaw stance. And that might give the man, what's his name, problems, you know what I mean? Because there was rounds when the man Jeff Horn fought Pacquiao. Pacquiao would just lean to his right and just drop that overhand left or that straight left over the top, reaching over for the tall guy. And he was catching him flush, you know what I mean? But I give Horn credit. I believe he got a chin, man, because he took a beating from Pacquiao, you know what I mean? Especially that round 10 where Pacquiao got spent trying to knock him out, you know what I'm saying? And he do have a chin, and he can take some punches, you know what I mean? Because even with the Cochran guy, man, they were going toe-to-toe at times, and these guys were unleashing vicious power shots, you know what I'm saying? But I think Bud Crawford should win this fight 8-4, you know what I'm saying? And he will be the new WBO welterweight champion of the world, and hopefully bigger and better things to come, especially if he can get the guys on the PBC side to get in the ring.
All right. Nice one, B-Marsh. Go ahead, Umar.
I'm not a believer in Jeff Horn, man. I don't think he's good. I do believe he beat Pacquiao, but he beat an older, washed-up version of Pacquiao. But the only thing Jeff Horn did was get Teddy Atlas fired, in my opinion. He ain't shit. And Terence Crawford's going to beat the brakes off him. That's my opinion. He's going to crumble that crap very easily. So I'm not really that enthused about it at all, to be quite honest with you, bro. I think that's easy work. I think he knocks him out in 8 rounds. Jeff Horn looked like dog shit to me against that Corcoran guy who I never heard of before that fight. So I'm not a believer, man. He gonna have to prove to me he's better than what I think he is.
Yeah, he still got a lot to prove.
Hey, B-Mark, let me put you on mute, though. Put yourself on mute for a bit because I get some feedback in that. Nice one, B-Mark. Appreciate it. All right, so that's the panel so far. They've all got, like, Bud Crawford. I tell you what, man, I kind of worry about Crawford because he's got some excellent body punches. Hopefully the fight will be officiated fairly, that they're not going to complain about Crawford hit him low and try to get a disqualification or some sort of bullshit where the Horn team can get out of there and run back to Australia with the belt. So hopefully it's officiated properly. B-Mark, put yourself on mute for a sec so I don't get no feedback, please. Appreciate it. Yeah, nice one, B-Mark. Yeah. Right. So hopefully it'll be officiated properly so we don't see that bullshit. That's the sort of thing that Duke Promotions or them, because they're the sort of bullshit. They had that referee with that Nick Joshua. They have these weird referees they put in there, and for some reason,
where they fighting?
No, they're fighting in America, but I'm just.
Oh, okay. I worry about it.
It's the promotion.
Grandpa Bob gonna take care of that.
I think Horn's the one that really needs to be concerned about that. Like, if anything, I think I'm about to
say, Grandpa Bob got dollars everywhere, man. Horn need to be the one.
Yeah, I know.
Because as bad as I mentioned about the ESPN commentary with regard to Horn Pacquiao, they've been very consistently awful and biased towards whoever the top ranked fighter is or whoever the A side is on.
Oh yeah,
several of
ESPN
them
because they
recent
signed that
telecasts.
deal with Top Rank. They're disgustingly biased. It's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, like freaking, like they were in the process of freaking, bowing down and praying to the god that is Lomachenko on his way to actually getting dropped. It's almost like there was like a delayed.
they were.
There was a delayed reaction in them actually calling him getting dropped due to the fact of how bad they were bloviating about the fucking guy.
But I thought after that Jeff Horn fight, the one thing I'll give Jeff Horn, I thought not only Teddy Atlas should have been fired, which he did get fired, Stephen A. Smith's ass should have got fired. Because he don't know shit about boxing, and he was going on a rant that was like he went on a rant like that was the 11 rounds to one fight. I couldn't believe the shit come out of his mouth.
Tim Bradley, in between the two of them, looked like he looked like he was at a family reunion, and he had like his two fucking uncles that you're embarrassed by and shit.
Bro, did you see when it was just Tim Bradley, right? It was Stephen A. Smith in the studio, and it was Tim Bradley talking one-on-one via satellite, and Tim Bradley looked like, motherfucker, if I wasn't via satellite, I'd knock your face off right now. Because Stephen A. was talking to him like Tim don't know shit about boxing because Tim said he thought it was a close fight.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, this guy Stephen A. does just too big for his britches.
You guys gonna let me finish my point. I ain't always taking property, but.
Oh yeah, my bad. We just went on a rant about Stephen A. Smith.
Everyone mute, man. Everyone mute up, please, yeah. Let me finish that and just let me finish my point. Thank you. Appreciate it. Like, I enjoy the enthusiasm, but we gotta let brother man finish his point. Anyway, so I was saying, hopefully Duke don't put none of that, and the panel's already highlighted how Jeff Horn's dirty. But the stuff that I'm just putting out there, that hopefully Crawford. Other than that, you're looking at the pound for pound number one, along with Lomachenko, along with Cizek. Like any of them three, you can go pound for pound, and you can keep going around and switching them around in terms of their performances. I'm looking for a pound for pound performance from I guess it kicked the B Marsh and Umar at the panel for a second. I'll probably be back.
Yeah, they'll probably jump back on.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm looking for a pound for pound performance from Crawford. And I'll tell you what, yeah, I think Crawford is he's just getting from strength to strength. I think he's gonna look good at the weight. Remember his first fighting at 147 in terms of in front of the crowd, ESPN and everything like that. All eyes are gonna be on him, and I think he's gonna deliver. I think it might be performance of the night. It could be possibly, but against Jeff Horn, I think Jeff Horn's he's gonna be outgunned, man. I mean, he's come over, but he better know that. Like Crawford ain't joke. He's no joke. Like very serious, fast, accurate, and just basically just determined to be one of the best in boxing. And today he's been doing that. And this will be another cap in his cap and solidify himself as one of the best welterweights at 147 that guys need to see him. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm going Bud Crawford to win, but either by stoppage or on points. But I'm just gonna go straight out. Hopefully he stops him, but I'm gonna go by points by Crawford, and I expect a great fight at ESPN, and we have a good undercard as well. We got Darleys Perez going against Maxim. They show. I don't know who that is, but the fight I'm looking for is the Benavidez fight versus Frank. Was it Rojas? I think that fight's happening. Also, Jose Pedraza is on the card against Antonio Moran. I don't know who is. Shakur Stevenson is on the card as well. I don't know the guy basically. I don't know the guy he's fighting. Probably 8th round off heavyweight. But it's good to see Jose Pedraza back on the cards and Benavidez defending. But I don't know too much about Frank or Rosa. I don't know. You know about this guy here? Who's going against? Because I don't know who he is. Also, Jacob in the chat was asking, did the Granados versus the Javier Fortuna fight get cancelled? I don't know, Jacob. I don't know, Jacob. I'm not too sure about that. Not showing it on box rec at all. He says looks like the fight's been moved to a later date. Probably.
Who's that? Who fighting?
Jose.
Granados versus Javier Fortuna.
Yeah. I think they might have taken that off the card. I think they might have taken that off the Santa Cruz Norris card. But Jose Benavidez is fighting a dude that's 22-0 with 21 knockouts out of Venezuela. This guy Frank Rojas. So he might be in trouble.
Yeah.
This guy kind of looks like Edwin Valero. So if he fights anything like him, Benavidez might be in a lot of. He's 22-0 with 21 knockouts.
Okay, so we might have an upset on our hand. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Benavidez for the daughter. But it's a hold on. What are they fighting for? It's a 10-rounder though. Hold on. Jose Benavidez. Who's Jose? It's not Jose Benavidez.
That's David Benavidez. No, it's his older
the
brother.
older
It's his older
brother.
brother.
The older
Yeah.
one.
It's David Benavidez. Yeah,
I was gonna say the smaller brother.
he was an interim champ at 140 pounds a couple years back, but then he got shot and he had like a long layoff after that while he was recovering. So
He might get upset. He might get upset.
he wound up getting stripped.
He beat Mauricio Herrera.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people thought, myself included, that Herrera deserved to beat him in that fight.
No
But,
question. I had Herrera as well winning.
yeah.
Wow. So, hey, we might get
He
upset.
challenged Bud Crawford a few months ago, man. They was face to face on some let's take it outside type shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's got, man. He might be in there with a real one.
Okay.
Yeah, he might be on his way if he can get through this guy. Maybe he'll get what he wants fucking with Bud, you know what I mean? He asked for it, Bud is ready to hand it to him.
Yeah, well, definitely. We've got Shakur Stevenson on the card. Already Jose Pedraza. These are stay busy fights. Antonio Moran, I don't know who he is. What's it per? Through knockouts, the guy's losing record. Oh, he says Rojas fought was knockout he fought guys with losing records, so you reckon he might be.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he had like not unlike Valero, like pretty much all of his fights were in Venezuela, and he hasn't really fought a guy on even Benavidez's level. But I mean, it's one of those things you don't know until they actually get in the ring. You know, a lot of people thought Edison Miranda's record was blown up, but he could still crack, regardless of the early knockouts being against very, very low level opposition. He proved that he can still punch at the high level as well.
Okay. 1 minute. Let me get something. All right. So we're gonna move on, and it seems like the Umar, Dan the Man, and Low Place, they might jump in a bit later. So we're gonna move on with this now and be more boxing. We're going to the Staples Center now in Los Angeles. And obviously, Jacob's already pointed out about the Granados fight. It's been moved to the Errol Spence undercard. So that's we're going to miss that one out. Charlo's still on that card against Austin Trout. But we're going to talk about the main event. First off, we're going to go against Leo Santa Cruz, defending his WBA featherweight title against Abner Maurice for the second time. And I tell you what, this fight should be good. The first fight was great. All-action fight. Let's go with B-Mars this time. B-Mars, how you see that fight, bro?
I see it going the same way the first fight did. I think activity, punch volume of Leo Santa Cruz will just confuse the man Abner Maris. You know what I mean? And if Abner Maris wants to win this fight, he's gonna have to he could try and outbox Santa Cruz, but Santa Cruz showed in that fight he can box as well, rather than just go all out and throw punches. He fought behind his jab. Throwing that right hand with accuracy, keeping dude at bay. You know what I'm saying? And if dude want to come in, Santa Cruz could let them hands go. So I don't see any way Abner Maris can win this fight. You know what I mean? I think Abner Maris, his best attribute would be to box, but I don't think that would necessarily get him the victory. You know what I mean? Because he's going to have to throw punches and bunches as well, and he could get caught in between with one of those, with a counter from the man Santa Cruz. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if he tries to use a lot of foot movement, you know what I'm saying? Make the man Santa Cruz chase him and be on some in and out shit, kind of like what the man Frampton did in the first fight with Santa Cruz. How he had some success with the man Santa Cruz. He'd have to move. He'd have to move a lot and be on some in and out, and land some punches in there, but he can't stay in the pocket fucking with Santa Cruz, man. He's gonna lose. So I got Santa Cruz winning this fight again, same way like I did the first time, via unanimous decision. It might be a little closer. I had the first fight 8-4 for Santa Cruz. It might be 7-5 this time for Santa Cruz. Just he might pull out one more round, you know what I'm saying, to make it a tighter fight. But I just think the better fighter is Santa Cruz, and these two guys, are what you call it, guys from the Los Angeles area. They've known each other since they were kids, so it'd be good to see them go all out, you know what I'm saying, and put it all on the line, and that's all up to Abner Maris, you know what I mean, because he lost the first fight.
Absolutely. Now talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, Abner Maris in the coming off of the first fight and everything definitely has a lot to prove here in the second one. Although I do think that he looked very good against Cuellar. last year. Like he had, what was that? Was that last year? Or was that more of a year and a half ago? Can't remember off the top. But I thought he looked really good outboxing and dropping Cuellar in the midst of winning a pretty wide decision over him, dominant one. The thing about Maurice is he's almost a victim of his own ambition, where it's like he wanted to be a multi-weight champion, you know, keep going up weight classes, winning titles and things of that nature. But he's really not a very big guy. Like to me, after having lost to Johnny Gonzalez, he probably should have dropped down to 122 pounds thereafter. But he chose to keep fighting at 126. And the thing is, I think I would actually give Maurice a really good chance against almost anybody at 126 on the planet. But Santa Cruz specifically is a very, very tough style matchup for him because of the fact that not only can Santa Cruz fight extremely well on the inside and is a very high volume, high endurance, high stamina fighter, so he can keep up a better pace, I think, even than Maurice normally tends to be able to do, because a lot of times with Maurice, he can box well on the outside, he can box well at mid-range, but because of the fact that he's on the short side, he has relatively short arms too. He's staturally speaking, he's a little guy for the weight class. You know, length and height and reach wise, he's able to somewhat compensate for that with his speed, you know, with his hand speed, his foot speed, his closing speed. The thing about Santa Cruz though is Santa Cruz has developed enough of a good base of boxing with his jab and with his management of distance when he has to actually use it, like he used it against Frampton, especially in the second fight, and like he used against Mars in their first fight. That I think that the style matchup is ultimately, I think, just too much for Mars to overcome, because Mars can't fall back on being able to just go in there and try to out endurance Santa Cruz, because Santa Cruz, I think, has better endurance than he even has. So it's really tough for Mars. Mars pretty much has to box a perfect fight, and where he has to keep constantly showing different looks. And the thing is, I think that he's actually very capable of it, because Mars is one of those fighters, and I think he proved that years back when he was like racing up pound for pound lists and things like that. He won the bantamweight tournament, he beat Anselmo Moreno, etc., where he was able to kind of change up his style depending on who his opponent was. He could box on the outside, he could box on the inside, he could brawl, he could, you know, rush you, bum rush you, and so on and so forth. I think against Santa Cruz, he really needs to use all of that, and use all of that at different times. Like almost like in the first round, he boxes from the outside. The second round, he crowds him and he tries to get on the inside. The third round, he fights more of like an ambush style. Like he just needs to keep completely changing his look, because ultimately I think that's the only way that he can win any rounds with any consistency. Otherwise, I think that Santa Cruz, with the jab in particular, and with just the high work rate, high volume, and high stamina that the guy has, can either outbox him on the outside or outwork him on the inside. So Mars basically has to keep making Santa Cruz reset the style that he uses by using different styles completely. And unfortunately, I just think that the chance of him actually doing that isn't particularly high. So I got Santa Cruz in the rematch by probably similar margins as the first fight.
Right, man. I can see that as well. We got in the chat. Jacob said he's gonna be there fight night. I think he was there for the first one. I think he was. He said the first fight was electrifying. He's got Aaliyah Santa Cruz stopping Morris late. What else Jacob saying? I don't like Morris talking about his past fights, about moving up and his weight. He needs to be focused for this for this competition. I agree with that. Everything you say there, I agree with 100%. Abner Morris, but the thing is, Abner Morris, I remember him getting knocked out by Johnny Gonzalez, and I know Leo doesn't hit that hard as well, but Leo's work rate, busy. It's stylistically he's gonna great fight, but ultimately Leo Santa Cruz looks like he's gonna just come across and win the fight. I mean, Abner Morris has got decent power. He's a very good boxer. He's not really a brawler, very good boxer, but ultimately he's got to get past the size and length and that. And I see Santa Cruz winning the fight as well, very handily as well. I'm sure Jacob has got Santa Cruz. He's got Santa Morris getting stopped. Everyone's picking Santa Cruz. I think Santa Cruz is going to do it. So that's how it is. Umar, because Bimar's jumped out for a bit. Umar, what's your take on the fight? And try to be clean as well, man. Like we don't need to be like saying anything we don't need to be saying. I know Abner Morris and his dirtiness against Joseph Agabeko. We've talked about it many times, but just try and keep it clean, because I know you like Leo Santa Cruz from a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, this guy took my legs out from under me because I had some heat for Abner Morris, but okay, I will adjust. I will adjust on the fly. Nah, man. I don't like Abner Maurice. That's a known fact. But beyond that, I don't think the dude is that good. I know at the time I believe he was with Golden Boy, and they were hyping him. He might still be Golden Boy. I don't know who's with now, but they were hyping him up. I'm fucking hyping him up all crazy like he was the next coming. And Johnny Gonzalez fucking knocked that hype train way off. What that dude was bouncing around weight classes, doing all that shit he was doing. But Leo Santa Cruz, man, that dude is an underrated fighter, man. He's one of the best Mexican fighters on the planet today, period, bar none. The dude doesn't lose. He just does not lose. Like, if people don't notice, the guy hasn't lost in a long fucking time, but people don't seem to want to give him credit. And he can fight you in many different ways. I don't think he lost to that white boy from England. I don't believe he lost either one of those fights. I know he's redeemed that, but I don't believe he lost that first fight. I thought that was bullshit. And besides that, the guy just doesn't take L's. And I think he's going to box Abner Maurice zeros off again. The blueprint is already there. He already did it once. There's nothing he needs to change. Only thing he should do more maybe in the fight is try to be consistent with the boxing the whole way through. Don't fade late and start balling with the guy like he did in the other fight. Just be consistent with it behind his jab, and he beats that guy easy. 10 rounds to 2, like easy. It's light work, man. Abner Maurice is not on his level.
He loves to fight too much. I agree with you. I understand about this Jay, but he loves to get in there with him, and they just like tearing it up. Black Letter Caesar, he put Abner Maurice is overrated. Jacob agrees with him in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I can understand that as well. And it's all there for Abner Maurice, man. It's all there for him. So we're gonna move on to Jermell. Is it Jermell? Jermell Charlo versus Austin Trout. Now, to me, I'm gonna give my take first. I'm like, on this fight here, especially on this fight, I feel Austin Trout has seen better days. I feel like he's past it at 154. He hasn't won nothing really significant since beating Miguel Cotto, and that was spectacular. But since then, I even though I had him beating Canelo Alvarez slightly on the points, it doesn't matter about that. That was ages ago. He didn't believe he won, and despite his whole thing, he seemed like he lost confidence. I like his wife, man. His wife, fine, but I don't know that's gonna get him over. Since then, he hasn't won a lot of fights, and it seems that Jermell's caught him at the right time. And I see Jermell, I see him beating. He's cruising. He's doing well at junior middleweight. So I think I see him stopping Austin Trout and possibly ending his career. So I'm just gonna go out. I pick Charlo by stoppage. I get Austin Trout. I don't really pick a round. I just have it by stoppage. So I can say from round 1 to 12, Charlo's defending his WBC title. So that's what I'm going with. Let's go with Umar first. Umar, how you see that fight, bro?
I just want to know, how many times did Austin Trout have to get on his knees to keep getting all these title shots? Because this fucking guy hasn't beaten anybody in years, and he's constantly in title fights, back to back to back to back. And he loses them all. I don't know what connection he's got, but he's got an angel on his shoulder, man. He's gonna lose again. And I don't hate Austin Trout, but I'm just tired of seeing certain guys get title shots when there's other guys that deserve them. And this guy's constantly getting these fucking title shots against. Now this is the second time fighting Charlo. Like, come on, man. He's gonna get beat easy. I don't necessarily think he'll get knocked out this time and stop like he got stopped against Hurd, another title shot he got. But I think he's gonna just get washed. He's not gonna. He's probably gonna lose 9 rounds to 3. It's gonna be easy, man. That guy's washed up, man. He ain't the same guy that was fighting Canelo back in the day. It's just a different guy. He ain't got it no more. He's done.
Yeah, and even then he got hit. Canelo hit with a punch. His legs just gave in. His legs done a dart. They never been the same. What's up now? Go ahead now. Jump in. Who you got?
Yeah, man. Trout is a guy that, like Umar said, he keeps getting these title shots and everything. He, for all intents and purposes, should probably be on the downside of his career, considering, he got lumped up a bit against Charlo, although that was a competitive fight. He actually gave Charlo a lot of difficulty. Some people actually thought he beat Charlo. And then Hurd just, did the old fucking Indiana Jones, like the walls closing in on you routine against him and stopped him. So it's going to be intriguing at the very least to see what he has left in comparison to Charlo. But, I mean, that said, his ability to kind of stick and move and everything may give Charlo a lot of difficulty, considering Charlo was pretty much getting washed by John Jackson until he finally, managed to get a beat on him, land one of those big shots. And kind of expose John Jackson's chin for being, glassy, knock him out and everything. So on both sides of it, honestly, this is at least a relatively interesting test, of an interesting fight. Honestly, Jermell should probably be able to stop Trout because Trout most likely does have some mileage on him, and I think that Trout is one of these guys that I think he's struggled to make 154 for a while, but he's kind of doing it just because of the fact that he's able to keep getting these big shots, whereas he wouldn't necessarily get them at 160, which is why he hasn't moved up full time. But he hasn't had a couple of kind of stay busy fights at like catchweights and things like that. But so, I mean, although all those factors combined leads me to believe that Charlo may struggle with him, but ultimately should probably stop him late. But I mean, it's anyone's guess. I don't think Jermell is as good of a closer or as good at tracking somebody down, cutting off the ring as Jermell is. Nor is he necessarily as big of a puncher. But I think he at the very least has enough power to do the damage and do the job against Trout, especially if Hurd was able to. And that's not to say that Hurd, isn't good as a knockout puncher. I mean, he's one of those guys that kind of wears you down, though, more so than just takes you out with a couple of clean ones. Jermell is more on that level, I'd say. But I mean, we'll see what happens. But I favor Jermell.
Yeah, I can see that. Most of the guys in the chat, Black Latin Caesar says it's gonna be, he's fought, gave a lot of Hall of Famers tough fights, and he ain't gonna be easy. He's quite tough as Trout. Yeah, and like you said, he's come off the John Jackson fight. That's a good fight win for him, but the Herd just ran through him. And this Charlo's are going like that. Some two-headed Hydran monster. The two of them are just carnage all the way through the divisions. They are causing trouble, and they're slowly building up their name like some two little demons. Like I remember when the Klitschko's were coming through, and everyone was talking about Vladimir and his brother, and they were just causing trouble. Like ever since then, but there's been in terms of twins. I don't know. Like these guys are just real trouble. Big mouths. You know what I mean? In each division, like his brother said he's gonna stay at 154 and let his brother just murder at 160, and like that's how I'm gonna do it. So and they're looking at Cruz set everyone up. Like Eddie Hearn's after them, trying to sign them up. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys are the next like up and coming guy. I didn't actually see it. I remember I'm gonna give props to Doodoo Brown. She told me about it. And there's some bad guys coming through, and I was like, really? She goes, yeah, EJ, these guys are gonna make this. So I'm gonna have to give props to Doodoo Brown. She told me way back then that these Charlo brothers are gonna cause trouble, and they're doing it thus far. World champions already, moving into weight classes, challenging the best in the divisions. You know what I'm trying to say? The middleweight division is a star-studded division, unlike 154. But if they can just unify all the belts in the division, I give them props. You know what I'm saying? So we have to see. But them the Charlo brothers are a serious threat in any division. They're definitely names. People are saying, why ain't Triple G facing him? Triple G's got to ask questions. Canelo's going to have to ask questions. At 154, like they've already solidified himself already, just fighting the best down there. They ruined, what's his name again? That guy. What's his name again? Jay Leonard. What's his name again? J Rock.
Oh, Erickson Lubin?
Nah, J Rock and Lubin. You see what I'm saying? They ruined prospect. The only one he can get is Demetrius Andrade. That's the one we wanted to see. That's the only one he can get. That's the only one he can get down there. So they've been ruining careers.
Well, and now I think both of them have a lot more opportunity than they did before, because now with Jermell, I mean, he has the possibility of maybe Hurd in the future, maybe Munguia in the future. With Jermell, he has the potential of maybe Canelo in the future, maybe Golovkin in the future, Jacobs, etc. So we'll see how it goes.
That's exactly right, Billy Joe. Like the two of them are causing trouble. They want to fight the best. They ask for the best. They're gonna stay with Showtime. This is the Lord of Showtime, and like they're causing trouble. And like, I'll be honest with you, it's gonna be a whole host of fights this week. Well, stay tuned. But like I said, it starts on Wednesday in the York Hall, Bethnal Green in London, between Lawrence Sokoli and Luke Watkins. That's where it first starts off. We've made our prediction for that. Make sure you check that video. Made our prediction for Terry Flanagan against Maurice. Obviously, Abner Maurice versus Leo Santa Cruz 2. And obviously Jeff Horn versus Terence Crawford. Charlo. It would have been good if the Granados versus Javier Fortuna fight was on the card, but it's not on this card. Obviously, they've moved it to Errol Spence. But a whole host of fighting. Also, you've got the NBA playoffs happening around this time as well. So American sports, stand up, big up. There's a lot of action. It's going to be a lot of moving around because I've been covering the playoffs with with me, Umar, and Kyle and B Marsh. We've been covering it. B Marsh is struggling trying to get in for some reason. I don't know what's happened to his phone. Don't know what happened to T and Dan the man. But now I'm glad I'm now on and Umar's here. But Jacob, what did you say, Jacob? So there's no way Oscar lets Canelo fight Charlo. I agree with you. But the thing is, yeah, I come to a certain point in the elite boxing. There's nowhere else to go. Like like a lot of guys, yeah, they don't want to fight certain guys, but there's nowhere else for them to go. And they might.
Yeah, I mean, if Charlo is able to kind of cut other guys off at the pass, then then ultimately they'll wind up having to fight. But otherwise, I'm in agreement with you. There's really no point necessarily in so far as risk versus reward sake for Canelo to fight him. So it's most likely not going to happen.
I'll be honest with you. You in America put more pressure on your fighters to fight than we do over here in the UK because of, like we mentioned, anti-yard and stuff like that. Like, ain't no pressure.
Well, and a lot of, I mean, there's to a certain degree, EJ, a lot of that has to do with things that people in the press say. And so, if somebody is being propped up as a top level fighter, they need to be fighting top level opposition, and at the very least do it with a certain degree of consistency. And so Canelo, that's what I want to see from Canelo, just like anybody else that's a championship level fighter, and he has been for several years now. So that's what needs to be happening, man. Otherwise, you got to give him that work.
Hey, that's one now. B-Moss, did you give your prediction on Leo Santa Cruz, Abner Maurice, and Charlo?
Yeah, I did. I didn't do for Charlo and Trout.
Okay, go ahead, B-Moss. Jump in and do that one, bro.
I think Trout's gonna go the distance with this guy, and possibly could win the fight.
Oh, damn. Well, go ahead, B-Moss.
There's nothing that this Charlo kid has ever done that will impress me. You know what I'm saying? I thought, the fight with Marta Rosen was debatable. I thought he lost that fight by a point. I thought he struggled with Gabe Rosado. He struggled with the John Jackson kid, even though he stopped him, with just one punch, turned the fight around. Like I said, he's fighting Jared Hurd's leftovers. So I'm not too positive about him stopping Austin Trout. You know what I'm saying? Austin Trout did admit, he said, I don't know if it's an admission, the truth, or his truth. He said that Charlo is a better fighter, overall boxer than Jared Hurd. But we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. To me, I don't like him saying those type of things because he lost to the man Trout. I'm sorry, to Hurd. First man to stop him. You know what I mean? And I called it. He would be the first man to stop him. And sure enough, he did. But I just think Austin Trout, if he had more pop, if he could hurt a guy, he would win this fight, man. I'd pick him to win the fight if he could crack, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, he can't. I hope training goes well for him. He's out here in D.C. at the Headbangers Gym. And I hope Barry Hunter and there could pull out a nice game plan for this guy to get the W, you know what I mean? Because I think Charlo is a guy who it's only a matter of time, you know what I'm saying? Till he fights a guy who's going to come in there and not worry about all that bravado these guys seem to like to put out there. And Austin Trout's a humble dude. And don't forget, Austin Trout fought the bigger Charlo, and I had him winning that fight, you know what I mean? It could have gone either way, but on my scorecard, I had it 7-5 for the Jermell Charlo. If to me, the dude won mostly because of maybe more power shots that hit harder. You know what I'm saying? He hit harder than Trout on the night, and that's why maybe he got the victory because I thought Trout was jabbing, using his jab well. He was slipping punches. You know what I mean? And dropping that left hand as well. But I just think that he got a blueprint fighting the first brother, you know what I mean? Even though they not so much alike, even though for the most part, their careers coming up, the Charlos, the bigger Charlo didn't fight nobody for a minute, till he even fought Kenan Bundridge. He hadn't fought nobody, you know what I'm saying? And the Charlo who fighting Trout, he had a better resume, you know what I'm saying? But we'll see, man. I think Trout could get it done, but I'm going to just play it safe and pick Jermell Charlo to win by a points decision, probably 7-5. I won't be shocked if Austin, no doubt, Trout from New Mexico gets it done. You know what I mean? I like Austin Trout, man. He's a good dude.
His wife's even better, though. Tell you that right.
Man, you talk about that cave bitch.
She's from Latina. She's a Latino woman. What are you talking about?
That's a white girl if I ever seen one. That's a Caucasian.
Nah, she's Latino, man. She's Latino. Black Latin C says Jermell versus Canelo would be a great classic. I agree with him. We ain't trying to say that Charlo's scared of Canelo. We're just saying like Oscar doesn't want him to fight him. Risk versus the ward, like that's more or less what everyone's saying. You know what I mean? More or less on that. Really, I don't think Canelo is all that. He talks a big game, toe to toe, but when it fights someone his size, he backs down. I ain't saying that, bro. That's Jacob's opinion. You know what I mean? That's Jacob. Jacob knows boxing. You know what I'm saying? Everyone knows boxing out here, bro. But it's gonna be a good fight night weekend. Like I said to you, kicks off on Wednesday. There's actually Diego De La Hoya. Diego De La Hoya is actually fighting on Friday, but I haven't really covered it.
That dude's trash, man. He's garbage.
I was gonna cover it. Now you know about that fight. I was gonna cover it, but I just thought, you know what? He's not really fighting like no one special, so I kind of just breezed it over. I shouldn't really because it is boxing, and but in terms of the major fights, in what happened in the weekend, what mean anything? That's what we. I mean,
Diego De La Hoya has been a prospect for like 8 years. Yeah. Fuck him. Get that dude the fuck up out of here, man. That dude's a bum.
Yeah,
Diego De La Hoya is fighting a guy that lost to Cesar Kitsurungwas. I got knocked out by him a couple years ago.
See? I watched Rungwas last night. I was watching him spark out Chocolatito, man.
Hey, that was bad, bro. Hey, listen, bro. That was a badass fight. But this is what I'm trying to say, yeah? End of the day, like the fights this weekend is gonna rejuvenate boxing. There's gonna be so many storylines, subplots. We've made our predictions. You've made your predictions. It's gonna be a great night of boxing. I thank everyone in the chat. Black Latin Caesar, Jacob, I found Benuma, BMOS.
What you guys pick for Charlo Trout? I didn't hear you. I had to take
everyone's going Charlo, bro. Everyone's going Charlo on that one.
Yeah, I got Charlo, but I think Trout is going to give him a significant number of problems. So.
Yeah.
Superfly Free, Jacob saying that's coming out. I'm interested in that.
They already talking about it.
When we fought Hurd, he ain't trained in DC. He ain't trained with the headbangers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he fought Hurd, maybe Hurd's from the area. I don't know.
Who's he training? Is that Brian Hunter? Is that Thingy Hunter? Is that Hunter, right? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Headbangers, Barry Hunter.
You know what? It would have been good if he trained them early because they really know how to go to the body. And you know what? That might rejuvenate him to some extent. It might even be good for him, but I don't think so because the fight's in the West Coast. You know what I mean? It's the fight's in the West Coast. He trained in the East Coast, and Charlo's over there. They've acclimated to the weather. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that wash and weather is gonna be good for him because he might be brittled to his bones. You know what I'm saying? But to be fair, he's from the desert, so I don't know. It ain't gonna affect him too much. But the style of fighting, I wonder if it's too late in his career because they're about body punching over in that DC gym, bro. And all their fighters fight similar. They like to go to the body, so he's gonna be there to be hit. And if he's there to be hit, Charlo could take his chin up. So that's what we're saying. So I don't think. I mean, if you went to Kevin Cunningham, right? I think Kevin Cunningham in terms of that movement where Tank and Broner was there. I said that would have been better for him because he makes you move, and that suits Charlo down to a T. Because
he's been coming to DC. He's been fighting at the headbangers in DC. This is not his first time.
No, I understand that, but I don't know if that's going to help change him. I was just saying Kevin Cunningham's a different, more suited to him because his movement. It's the movement Kevin Cunningham he likes his guys hitting and getting out there. Don't stand there. That suits Charlo. But the bangers, them dudes, they like to dig into the body and then, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how they fighting. They like to just grind it down. So we'll find out. Hey, I'll tell you what, it helped him with knocking out Thingy's brother, Thingy's son though, Thingy Jackson. So we're gonna have to find out, man. We made our predictions, and there's nothing more to say about it, man. Just get ready, brace yourself. The fights all start tomorrow, at UK time. Make sure we're gonna do preview, and then we're gonna go live. We'll watch it live, and we're gonna do post. So I'd like to thank the panel. Jacob, thanks for coming over. So Charlo is young and hungry. I have to agree, bro. He definitely is. the panel, BMOS TV, BMOS Boxing, Now TV, Ben Umar. I don't know what happened to Dan the Man and Low Place. They're probably going at each other back because they miss each other for a minute. You know what I mean? They're together now. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow. About probably like, I don't know what time in America, but over here it's gonna be like 8 o'clock in the evening. So but I'll let everyone know. So thanks very much for coming over.
That's gonna be afternoon for us.
Yeah, probably afternoon for you guys.
What fight?
Luke Watkins versus Lawrence.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely be the afternoon.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Thanks for coming over. Peace.